Greetings, this is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Uh, Bonjour, wie geht's? Guten Tag. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Today, I wanted to review where we are on the Tesla Semi. The angle I want to take on things today is something I call the $20 million profit that may cost Mercedes-Benz $100 billion. So my talk today has three sections. The first section is kind of reviewing what we've already covered relative to Tesla and Mercedes and the semi-truck and truck products. The second part of my talk is going to be sort of just the facts of what's been going on and that I thought was interesting, and then finally my interpretation of that. So the first part of the discussion is the fact that we're in late July. We're a month away from we're a month and a half away from Tesla doing a demonstration, much like they did with the Model 3, of the Tesla Semi. And I definitely think it exists, and I definitely think and know that it performs well. What I also wanted to review today is kind of what's been going on again with Mercedes, which is that they currently have an unlimited number of orders from Japan 7-Eleven for their, I want to say, light-duty truck products in the electric space. I have to give props to Mercedes because they've been working on an electric truck solution for their customers of all types since the 2005-2006 timeframe. The big nightmare has been to come up with a combination of weight and performance for batteries that would allow them to sort of provide a solution that makes economic sense. So Mercedes has an interesting challenge on its hand. Number one, they've got thousands of orders that are confirmed from customers like Japan 7-Eleven. They now have 1,500 Sprinter vans that are on order from Hermes in Germany. And then those are sort of obvious fleet-based orders that are on the table right now that they can't service because they just don't have the battery capacity for it. But the solution has been tested both by the customer and Mercedes over multiple years to show that it actually does work well. And they all have a supercharger backup in case, range issues popped up for some reason. The final note I wanted to make on our precursor is that there's an interesting situation happening, which is that Tesla is in the process or about to announce to us who their initial partner will be in the rollout of their truck products. And the most logical partner for them to have is Mercedes, but I think that this Mercedes partnership could end up non-existent for the reasons I'll cover in part 2 of my discussion. So moving on from mostly what we've covered in the past, what I wanted to look at is a couple of things that are going on in the semi area that could really affect the future of Mercedes and Tesla. And the biggest thing that just happened is what I call a shot over the bow. 2 months ago, I want to say in May of 2017, it was announced by Mercedes that they would now be partnering with a company I believe called Vivent, which is a U.S. manufacturer that competes with Tesla in powerwall products. So Mercedes has announced that they've been working with Tesla for the last 10 plus years, and they will not partner with Tesla and private label a Tesla Powerwall or something. No. They're going to go ahead and partner with another company that competes with Tesla in order to offer Powerwall products. Now, I have to admit, I said that in this section I would just sort of forward data on what's been occurring and what my thought process are. The second thing that popped up that I learned about recently, but it's been sitting out in the air for the last 8 or 9 months, is that the head of trucking of Tesla made an announcement that, the head of trucking for Mercedes has mentioned that he's not at all worried about Tesla. And the reason is that Mercedes has relationship with customers in 176 countries around the world, and that there are parts and other elements of that relationship that make Tesla not even a threat to Mercedes, because they would have a hard time replicating those kind of customer contacts. And so this causes me to move on to part number 3, that shows you why Tesla is deadly, why the stock is going to 3,000, and why the people in the communications department of Mercedes need to call the executives in and help them understand that they're not in the power position they are. And even if they are, they got to not speak very often, because it could be very bad for your company health. So in part 3 of my video, I want to look at the decision to partner with a company other than Tesla for the powerwall in the vivent discussion. Now, best case, the whole powerwall business is a brand new business. I don't know if Mercedes is offering this in Germany, but Mercedes deliberately chose to offer a product that competes with Tesla, not in their home country, Germany, where they tested it out, but in America, announce and partner with someone in Tesla's backyard. And I was like, this totally makes sense if Mercedes isn't relying on Tesla to provide batteries for their truck solutions of the future. And so, from Freightliner, Mercedes division in the United States, controls 40% of the US truck market. So the $20 million they might get per year from their Powerwall solution, if they try to compete with Tesla through the back door, is the equivalent of revenue that they would generate from 10 or 15 of the thousands of trucks that are rolling along American highways with the Freightliner brand on it. So in my mind, this move on the part of Mercedes, I believe, is one of the worst management decisions in the last century by any company. And I hope it doesn't cost Mercedes the $100 billion I think it will, because they misunderstand how powerful Tesla is and how large a lead they have on everybody in both factory builds and quality of the products they're putting out in the form of batteries. So in my mind, the announcement made by by Mercedes was a declaration of war against Tesla. And I think that Tesla is not the kind of company to talk a lot of crap. They're the kind of company that will suddenly make it so that you can't get supply for your batteries and other products that you need in order to be competitive in your market space. So one of the biggest what's going to happen of the coming session in September is, number one, let's get a look at this product from Tesla. But number two, who has Tesla chosen to partner with in order to distribute these truck products? Because I think it's got to be Mercedes, because they have worked together so well. There's management from Mercedes that's running Tesla's truck business. There's a lot of tie-ins between the two companies. But in my mind, Mercedes has completely played their hand badly in this case. And if Mercedes thought they were insulated from Tesla competition, what they don't get is the fact that part of the Silicon Valley process is that they work hard to deliver solutions that make such a big difference to customers that even if you already had a customer for a long term, the customers will leave you and embrace new solutions presented by that Silicon Valley company. A great example is, think about Nokia comparing their competition to Apple's iPhone. Nokia had relationships with those companies or clients for 20 or 25 years, and within 2 or 3 years, they'd all been dumped in terms of moving over to Apple. The argument against me using iPhone as an example is that what Mercedes is saying is that they have a long-term customer relationship that's based on parts and repairs and other things. But when you move to an electric solution, the basic car is 18 parts in that engine compartment, right? For a Tesla product. What Elon Musk said is we'll take 3 or 4 of the engine parts of a Model 3 and that will become a truck. So in a regular truck there are thousands of parts. If we do a multiplication of 3 times 18, and what if those parts are multiples of 1, it's possible that your end user only has to stock a grand total of 30 parts on the wall in their building and train their users how to repair those parts, and now they can switch over to Tesla with no problem. And the reason why they want to do this is that if you're reducing your costs between 50 and 70% of operations, those are the kind of numbers that force customers to drop longtime suppliers and move over to new suppliers that can offer that kind of value proposition. So again, reviewing, I believe that the deal to provide power walls and compete with Tesla in the United States on the part of Mercedes has to be, I think, one of the worst business decisions of the century, the last 100 years. We'll see how it plays out, but I think it's an important development in how the semis are going to roll out Tesla and Mercedes. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Thanks for taking time out. Tschüss, macht's gut, au revoir, lahitraot, hoda hafez. Look forward to your comments and input, and have a great day. Please subscribe.